so let's see if I can zoom out here. I went ahead and I degreased and I pressure washed this muddy, dirty, greasy shit off. I want to show you something here though, but this is supposed to be tightened down to hold our valve cover on, but these are both hand tight. That's no bueno. So that could be a lot of our, well, it's echoing in here. That could be a lot of our issue on why our valve cover is leaking all over everything. You can see there's a bit of a staining along there. You can usually tell where the oil's been leaking from if they're not cleaned off. If somebody brings something in, it's all nicely cleaned off. It's harder to find the oil leak if it's just minor. I know where all the oil leaks are on this, so I had no problem doing it, because what we're going to end up doing is pulling this off and exposing the inside of the engine. And I'm going to be pulling this whole front cover off, and all of this stuff is going to be coming off so I can get that front cover. And we'll have a huge risk of contaminants into there. That is why I've pressure washed this. I'm probably going to have to clean it again because I didn't get so much up the underside. And I want to go ahead and change the oil in the hubs, and that's no bueno. But this will give me a minute to get some more degreaser on everything. The thing we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to start pulling the battery and everything off. Because like I said, in order to get to this fuel injection pump here, right there, we have to pull the whole timing cover off so that we can take the gear off of that to get that out, to find out where that's been leaking. We also will have to time the engine back to this when it comes off and goes back on. Another thing I did notice is this used to have a hanger on it somewhere around here. It never worked since I had it, so we might have to fab something up for this as well. Here's where you can see, here's the cord for our pull. Our hood release comes around up, and then it's really short, so I should be able to find something that I can use on there, and we'll go ahead and remount our hood latch up top. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, and I gotta fix all this. Look at this damage right there. Like, that needs to be fixed. That's unprofessional. Other thing I noticed too was this thing is bent out a little bit and down, so I gotta fix that at some point. This was the side that was the greasiest. We had a lot coming down the side of the block there, and we also had a big leak at the bottom of this. Now this is all cleaned up. It should be a lot easier. I did have the muffler off, but this is straight down into the exhaust, so I didn't want to get any water or anything into the valve. I can still see I didn't clean a bunch there. I like the aluminum valve cover. I'd just like to put maybe a little bit of red on that Mahindra there. That would be pretty cool. Or paint it red, but have the aluminum coming through for the Mahindra. It was all black at one time. I think this is called a CE or a CB40 engine. I don't know exactly. I don't know what Mahindra used in these, so this is going to be a treat finding parts. I might pull this hydraulic cooler, the air filter, the battery, and the rad off. Well, I guess the cooler package. And then I'll pressure wash it again before I go to take the front end off, and then that stuff will be up out of our way. I have gotten a tilt cylinder out. It was quite literally, you just pull a pin out of here. There's a pin there. You pull a pin out of here, you unthread this, and it comes out. And I have been fighting with trying to get the steering wheel off. It's the nut's undone, and I was hoping it would be easy. But it only uses these M6 by 1.5 threaded rod, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to be something I can use, because my steering wheel puller was actually bending this rod, so that didn't work. So what I'm going to probably do is take a piece of plate and make it so it fits around there, and then use my big gear puller and yank this off, because this is not working out so great. There was something else I was looking at up here too, but I can't remember what it was. But all these are as good as they can be. It was actually leaking all the way down into here. I can see back in there. The hydraulic oil just kept leaking down into there. So that's no bueno. I might pull this cover off as well, and this stand off too, just to get more cleaning going on. As you can see, I didn't do much on the operator's compartment. I did get a bit down in here as I was going, but I got to pull that drain pan out because our suction screen is actually right there and our filter is there. I think that's one filter, and I don't know where the other one is on this. Where is the other hydraulic filter? So there's one here. There's a suction screen that needs to be cleaned, and I haven't done that. And there is another hydraulic oil filter on this somewhere right there. So That's because it's a hydrostat. So I might have to pull this cover off too. This controls here. This is our joystick controls to the front end loader. And then from the front end loader, we go up to these quick connects and then out. So this is for the front end loader. This can pull out and off. Open this up and we can pressure wash a bit easier in there, because that thing right there is what I got to get to and clean off to find out where we're leaking in there, because that is what's filling this thing up. So that's where I'm at. This bracket here actually came off this winter when this was being used as a generator. So I found that bracket. I found my other steering wheel covers. There was some other stuff I found that I'd taken because it fell off. So by the time we're done with this thing will be mintier than new. And that's kind of a cool aluminumized intake as well. Anyways, yeah, so that's where we're at right now. So temperature sensor right there. Glow plug or the grid heater or the intake air heater. This is your fuel prime. Push that down, it pulls fuel into this fuel filter. These are your injectors. This is the return line. Yeah, this is a feed to the pump. You can see I've had to jerry rig this before because of it broke, and I wasn't going to go replacing this stuff with $100 line. So it actually has JB weld on it back there, and that is held up for 3 years now. So I'm not going to buy a new line until I absolutely have to. But yeah, this injection pump is going to be a big job getting that out. So pitter patter, I guess. Lower rad screen is covered in gunk. All the rad screen did was hold gunk in there. Jeez. Take the hair box out. That got water in it. Oh, that's lovely. So the intake got water in it somehow. Hey, buddy. Bobby! It'll be like that. Hobbs. I get it, you're a sneaky little snake bean. What do we need to do to get into this radiator? We can drain this. Hydraulic. These are both hydraulic lines. I don't know where that one goes. Okay, let's take a look and see what we're working with. He has been helping me. And by helping me, I mean knocking stuff over in the shop and moving tools. Hello. You're a little fatty. You're a little fatty. Boy. So I figured I'd try and take this shroud off here, this steel piece, because it just comes up and over. But this is where I'm going to tell you. Everybody has a complaint about these Mahindras. Yes, some of these hoses I've had to replace like every hydraulic hose, and some of the wiring connections aren't the best, but that's manageable. Tires, questionable, but these are 1,500 hours on them. So here's my problem. A lot of the issues I've had with this tractor has been assembly issues where hoses were routed wrong, or you know, fuel lines were routed in stupid places over top of something hot, or wiring was touching like something hot, like it dumb. Here's another example. If we take a look at these rad fasteners, these are tightened down to the point where they're deforming the plastic. I'm trying to take this off. These were tightened down until they stripped the fucking hole out. This is not an India built this tractor problem. This is a fucking on our shores, North America, that put this together with dugga until it fucking stripped this out and not knowing what torque was. So this is my problem with these tractors, is the jack that assembled these. You guys need to follow fucking directions. But if you could follow fucking directions, we wouldn't be where we're fucking at. Like, so now I gotta figure this out because you guys can't follow fucking simple directions. So yeah, that's my biggest issue there. But this assembly issue, like this here, if you took a look at the air line here, so this air box, you've got a dent there built to have this line run through it. Guess what they didn't do? Put this through it. By simply taking this line, instead of running it under here, you run it here where there's plenty of clearance. See, look, they pinched it in there because they're idiots. They can't follow directions or have critical thinking. You run it up here, it would have fallen into that and we wouldn't have had this cooler line for the hydraulics. If that blows, that's your hydraulics gone. I'm gonna have to fix all of that now because you guys can't do things simply. Jack wagons, man. Oh. They dug it until that's, yep. How am I gonna fix that? Because that is a riv nut into the actual thing. I might be able to get this in here if I don't crank it down like some yeah. Anyways, let's see what we're working on next. We want to get that piece out. What are you doing, you little shit? Still can't believe they did that. Look, so this goes over this way, and then that all would have lined up and where we needed to. That hose is actually really short. Where else are we? Look, it's underneath something else underneath. Oh, see, there's the problem. This hose is underneath something else. So, man, you guys got to start taking pride in your work. Like, I don't care. Like, okay, so what's the best way to get to this thing down below? This is what I'm talking about. That, look at that gunk in there. Come on, focus on there. Look at all that gunk. That's what was stuck between the rad shield and everything. So you only got that much space. Lovely. We're gonna have to make make a funnel or something. That's where our drain is right there. And we'll also have to take this alternator off as well. That takes nothing to do, but we could just do that now. Should I do this thing as well? Gonna help to get this cooler out eventually. And I could just undo those 2 bolts right there and pull this thing forward. 12mm bolt just holding a cooler on should not be impactable. Oh, look at that. Jesus. That is, yeah. Oh, I can't believe that. We're lucky we didn't overheat. It's time to drain the rad because we can't go much further until we get this cooler package out the way. I did find a hose that I could shove onto that nipple. And a piece of rod I could shove in, that I could shove in there to prevent this from falling off. So now it's just a matter of opening that up and then draining it into here. And that was not the cleanest stuff that I had in the overflow bottle. So hopefully we don't have an issue. I don't think we do, but let's just get this going. So this is out, it's dripping a little bit. This should be running. So now we're just a waiting game because we have a rad. That's a big rad, I'll tell you that right now, compared to what I've been working on over there for a 3-cylinder. And then this block here. So hopefully that bucket is enough. But now I'm just gonna hang out and get a drink and wait for this to work, because that's all we can do now. If we do spill some, it's not a big deal. I do not like coolant being anywhere loose. I have a big white barrel there that all my coolant, it goes into a bucket, it gets put into that, and that's sealed. This stuff will kill animals super fast. Motor oil, transmission oil, hydraulic oil, not big deal. I mean, don't get it on the ground, but antifreeze coolant will kill animals if they get it. I got Absorball to put onto this if I leak it, and then we will put it all into a container. I don't f around with this stuff. We've lost a dog when I was a kid to this crap. So that's pretty dark, but I think it's the type of coolant they used. It's also probably old, like I said, 1500 hours. Most of the rads should be drained out and some of the top end of the engine. So what I'm gonna do is, ooh, I forgot that's all hooked up down there. I'm gonna break this top rad hose off and see what's looking up in here, because it should be good to go. Tighten on there, there we go. So if I can do that, then I can see about that other rad hose on the bottom, the other rad hose. There's a top and a bottom. There's always a top and a bottom. But if I could undo this lower rad hose here and maybe drain this section into, what the hell is this? Oh, that's the overflow. What the hell is that line? We'll find out in a minute. Oh, that might be the breather for the front diff is what this could be. Okay, that makes sense. But if I can drain that down into that bucket from that side, if there's any left in here. This is our block heater for this, because it never came with one, and it looks like it's wearing into that cover, but what are we gonna do? There's our bolt cover for our gear set. So I don't like how it's wearing into there. I might have to, there's nowhere else to put it, so whatever. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start undoing the top there, see what we're at, and then undo this bottom and see where we're at. That works. Well, it looks like it's drained out quite a bit, so okay, move that rad hose to the other side. Move our fill bucket to the other side. Hey, brother. Hey, bro. Oh, yeah, of course. Because this was an aftermarket add-on, it's a different size. Hey, buddy. What's up, shop monkey? You all right, Bobby? Stay out of this. Good boy, just stay out of that. Hey, buddy. brackets. I didn't know whether, whoa, bucket. These brackets need to come off, so I'm gonna have to put a new foam on there. Shouldn't be too bad. There we go. Put that back on when we get this out. Seriously? What the fuck is holding you up? I don't want to tip it too much. I gotta get the other one off, I suppose. I could have just split this wire stuff, but that's fine. Good enough. Go. Let's go. Yeah. Ah, fucking seeds, pollen. Okay, so now we gotta get that fan off. Ooh, don't you take damage. Okay, we might have to take that off. I'll tape some cardboard to that. So there's our cooler package off, except for that. We should really take that apart and put it somewhere. Alternator and the fan need to come off. And then we need to probably pull that cooler package right there, that cooler off, so we don't damage that, because I'm sure that's not cheap. There's definitely, oh, this needs to go back on that side there, but we'll deal with that. There's a lot of space right there to work on, a lot of areas to get crud in there. We got to clean that battery thing up. That hose there that does that little spiral, that is our breather for our front diff. So kind of cool. Not a very big motor, not much bigger than that one right there. So one thing I did notice was weird the other day is our exhaust only has 2 outlets on the head. So there must be a shared one inside, which is kind of funky, but not worried about it. Yeah, alternator, that fan. I gotta take that coolant and dump it into my thing before my partner decides to get into it. What's up, bro? Might want to change his belt out because I don't know the last time I done it. Yeah, it's pretty fragged. So we're down to the last nitty gritty to get into this injector pump here. You can see we've got a cover there. Thankfully, I don't think I have to pull the whole timing cover off. I think I just got to pull that shield off and make sure it's all lined up and timed with the right numbers there. I'm hoping I don't have to pull this all off. And I'm also hoping my crank seal doesn't leak because I don't want to have to change that. Not that I can't change it, but yeah, this is our water pump here. This is a whole water pump there, but this is, I got to pull this hose off to get more access, and I got to pull this crank breather off, and I got to try and check this out too, because this could be full of oil. Because the way that works is, as your oil vapors come out, it goes through a screen, and then it looks like it runs into the intake. So the intake vacuum will draw that vapors back in and reburn it through the intake, which is why we've got a bit of schmoo in the intake. And then it should drip back the condensate into where the injector pump is. So I don't know if that's working good or not, but we will put this exhaust back on too, just because that's wide open to the elements. But we're almost to the point where we can start getting into our injector pump and getting that all off. You can see we've got 2 hydraulic pumps. We got one on the front, one on the back. They feed the same return line, or feed line. So this is your feed line, and then they've got they power 2 separate things. So one's your front loader and hydraulics, and one's the transmission. If that makes sense.